I never thought life would give me a second chance at love. Not after everything I'd been through. Not after the silence, the betrayal, and the kind of heartbreak that makes you question if you'll ever trust again. My name is Elena, and this is the story of how love came to find me when I had already stopped looking for it. When my marriage ended, it didn't happen all at once. It was slow, like watching a candle burn out, the flame shrinking until there was nothing left but smoke and memories. Nathan and I had built a life together, or at least I thought we had. But love, I learned, can vanish even when two people are still standing in the same room. After the papers were signed and the house was no longer mine, I packed my life into boxes that smelled of old perfume and goodbye. I moved to a small coastal town called Marigold Bay. A quiet place, where the sea could drown out the noise in my head and the sunsets could remind me that endings can still be beautiful. At first, it was just me and the ocean. I'd walk along the shore every morning, barefoot, letting the cold water numb me in ways tears never could. I told myself I was healing, though some days, I felt like I was just surviving. Then one morning, I saw him. He was standing by the edge of the pier, a camera hanging from his neck, his gaze fixed on the horizon as if he was waiting for something only the sea could give him. His name was Lucas. He turned to me with a smile that wasn't forced, a smile that reached his eyes and said, "You came to watch the morning begin too?" There was something different about his voice. Calm, steady, honest. I didn't know it then, but that was the beginning of something that would change everything. Lucas wasn't like anyone I'd ever met. He owned a small gallery near the town square, filled with paintings of the ocean, portraits of strangers, and photographs that looked like they held secrets. He had a quiet presence, the kind that didn't demand attention but somehow captured it anyway. We started meeting often, sometimes by accident, sometimes because neither of us wanted to admit it wasn't. We'd walk the beach, talk about everything and nothing. He told me about his travels, his art, the way he saw emotion in ordinary things. I told him about my love for stories, for coffee on rainy days, for the feeling of belonging I hadn't felt in years. With him, silence was never uncomfortable. It was peace. One evening, as the sky turned gold, I told him about Nathan. About the betrayal, the loneliness, the way I had forgotten how to be myself. He didn't interrupt. He didn't say, "I'm sorry," or offer empty comfort. He simply looked at me with a gentleness I hadn't known I needed and said, "You didn't lose yourself, Elena. You just got buried under someone who couldn't see your light." That moment stayed with me. From then on, Lucas and I became each other's quiet rhythm. We shared sunsets, laughter, and sometimes, the kind of silence that said more than words ever could. One night, he invited me to his gallery. The lights were dim, the air smelled faintly of paint and salt. Soft music played in the background. When I stepped inside, I froze. Every wall was covered with photographs of the sea, except one. In the center hung a single portrait. Me. Standing by the water, my hair tangled in the wind, my face calm yet alive. He had captured me in a moment I hadn't even known he was watching. Below it, a small card read, "Becoming." He walked toward me, his gaze steady. "This is how I see you," he said. "Not broken. Not lost. Just becoming who you were always meant to be." I didn't know whether to cry or to breathe. And then he kissed me. It was slow. Soft. The kind of kiss that didn't demand, just offered. A promise of something gentle. Something real. The days that followed were like sunlight after a storm. We cooked together, danced in the kitchen, painted on rainy afternoons. I laughed again, really laughed. Love with Lucas wasn't a whirlwind. It was an awakening. But just when I thought my heart had found home again, life tested me. Nathan came back. It was a rainy afternoon. I heard the knock, opened the door, and there he was, soaked, trembling, saying all the words I used to beg to hear. "I made a mistake," he said. "I still love you." And for a heartbeat, old feelings rose. Memories. Habits. The illusion of comfort. But then I realized, I wasn't that woman anymore. The one who waited. The one who settled. I looked at Nathan, at the man who once broke me, and said, "You taught me what love should never feel like. And for that, I thank you." He left without another word. And as I closed the door, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, peace. That night, I went to the beach alone. The waves were wild, the wind cold against my skin. But inside I was calm. Because I knew that even if Lucas and I didn't last forever, he had already given me the greatest gift, the reminder that I was capable of love again, not because someone chose me, but because I chose myself. Months later, Lucas and I stood by the same pier where we first met. The sun was rising, turning the sky into shades of gold and pink. He looked at me, his expression soft. "I don't know what the future holds," he said, "but I want to keep walking with you, wherever it leads." And I smiled. Because it wasn't a promise of forever. It was something deeper. Real. Honest. Sometimes, love doesn't come to complete you. It comes to show you that you were already whole. So if you're listening to this right now, wondering if love will ever find you again, maybe it will. Or maybe it already has. In the quiet ways you're learning to love yourself again. Have you ever met someone who reminded you that your heart could still heal? Do you believe love can come again after heartbreak? And if it does, would you open the door? If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next story. And tell me your thoughts in the comments. I always read them.